This video presents the historical development of naturalism in education together with the key thinkers and their respective contributions. Naturalism emerged as an educational philosophy during the 18th and 19th centuries, grounded in the belief that learning is most effective when it follows the learner's innate tendencies rather than imposed curricula. Influenced by thinkers, naturalism arose as a reaction against rigid formalism, classical traditions, and authoritarian schooling. Naturalists argued that education should align with the laws of nature and the natural development of a child, emphasizing experience, sensory interaction, and growth through the environment. Naturalism shaped education into a child-centered process that values freedom, self-discovery, and harmony with nature. Let's start with Aristotle, a Greek philosopher and a student of Plato whose work on ethics, logic, and biology influenced educational thought. His ideas arose in a period focused on understanding natural law and human purpose, emphasizing education as a cultivation of virtue and reason. Aristotle provided one of the earliest philosophical bases for naturalism by linking learning with the study of nature and human development. His view that knowledge grows from experience influenced later scientific and experiential approaches to education. He viewed reality as embedded in the natural world and saw human beings as part of nature's continuum. For him, education should follow the natural stages of growth, balancing intellectual, moral, and physical development. Learning should cultivate virtue and wisdom through active engagement with the world. John Locke, an English philosopher whose empiricist ideas influenced the theories of child development and education. His contributions emerged during the Enlightenment, challenging innate ideas and emphasizing observation and sensory experience in learning. Locke's concept of the mind as a blank slate or tabula rasa established experience as the foundation of all learning. His emphasis on habit formation and environmental influence became central to modern educational psychology. He believed that knowledge comes from sensory experience and reflection. The mind develops naturally through exposure to the environment and repeated experience. For him, education should focus on experience-based learning, moral discipline, and practical reasoning. We have here Jean-Jacques Rousseau, a French philosopher whose work articulated principles of child-centered and nature-based education. His ideas arose in response to rigid and authoritarian schooling practices in the 18th century Europe. Rousseau revolutionized educational thought by centering the child as an active, natural learner. His vision of freedom and development inspired progressive, child-centered education worldwide. He believed humans are naturally good and that education should protect and nurture the goodness. Learning occurs best when guided by natural curiosity rather than imposed authority. For him, education should allow the child to learn through experience and discovery with minimal interference. The teacher acts as a guide, allowing growth to unfold in harmony with natural development. The next one is Johann Heinrich Pestalozzi, a Swiss educational reformer who emphasized experiential learning and nurturing the whole child. His work developed during post-Enlightenment Europe, aiming to reform schools that neglected the emotional and practical needs of children. Pestalozzi translated naturalistic ideas into practical pedagogy, emphasizing holistic education. His belief in educating the head, heart, and hand bridged naturalism and modern humanistic education. He viewed education as a natural process of self-activity guided by love and observation of the child's development. For him, education should begin with concrete experiences before abstract thinking. Teachers should guide learning gently, fostering moral growth, self-reliance, and harmony with nature. The Center on Kindergarten Development and Play-Based Learning, Friedrich Froebel, a German educator and founder of the kindergarten movement, emphasizing creative and hands-on learning. His ideas emerged as industrialization threatened to impose rigid and mechanical education on young children. Froebel founded the kindergarten as a natural space for early childhood learning. His belief in play as nature's way of teaching children continues to shape early education worldwide. He believed that children are inherently creative and develop naturally through activity and connection with the natural world. For him, education should center on play, nature, and meaningful activity. Teachers should act as gardeners tending growth, guiding, not forcing, development. The next one is Herbert Spencer, an English philosopher and social theorist who applied evolutionary principles to education. His contributions arose during the industrial era when education needed to adapt to societal change while remaining child-centered. Spencer's application of evolution to education emphasized utility and adaptation. His focus on scientific and practical learning influenced modern science and vocational education. He viewed learning as a natural form of adaptation and survival, guided by laws of evolution. Education should cultivate fitness for life by understanding nature's processes. For him, education should emphasize science, health, and practical skills over classical studies. Schools should prepare learners to live harmoniously within natural and social environments. The next one is an Indian philosopher, Rabindranath Tagore. He is also an educator who founded a school integrating nature, art, and culture. His ideas developed in colonial India, challenging rote learning and rigid Western-style schooling imposed on children. Tagore's educational philosophy merged naturalism with humanism, integrating nature, creativity, and cultural freedom. His ideas inspired environmental and holistic education movements globally. He saw education as a process of spiritual and artistic awakening through connection with the natural world. For him, education should occur in open, natural settings, encouraging creativity, love of beauty, and moral awareness. His school at Santiniketan embodied education as communion with nature and humanity. Maria Montessori, an Italian physician and educator who developed the Montessori method of education. Her work emerged in the early 20th century Europe, addressing the need for individualized education in rapidly industrializing societies. Montessori's method made naturalism practical and scientific, linking freedom with structure. Her approach redefined early education and remains globally influential today. She believed that children possess inner drives to learn and grow, and education should respect these natural tendencies. Teachers must observe and support rather than command. For her, education should offer freedom within prepared environments that promote independence and exploration. Learning should unfold naturally through sensory experiences and purposeful activity. The present continuing influence of naturalism endures in child-centered and experiential education, especially in outdoor learning, environmental education, and nature-based schools. The philosophy's respect for natural growth influences early childhood education and holistic teaching approaches. Movements like forest schools and ecological education embody naturalism's call to align learning with human development and natural world. Naturalism transformed education into a process of growth guided by nature rather than imposed by authority. From Aristotle's early reflections to Rousseau's child-centered vision and Montessori's scientific method, naturalism has consistently emphasized freedom, experience, and harmony with the natural world. The naturalist tradition reminds us that education must honor the learner's natural development, allowing curiosity, experience, and the rhythms of life itself to guide the unfolding of human potential. This has been the historical development of naturalism in education. For more helpful videos in related education courses, you may subscribe to this channel. Thank you in advance.